Hello, it's the Imperium Dev Vlog, and today we're going to talk about automated testing. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of automated test scripts, and we don't currently have a full-time tester at Imperium. And I've worked with some really good testers over the years. I worked with some testers, but I've worked with some really good ones. And what they strive to do is do automated testing, which is where the tester spends a lot of time thinking about how the thing under test might fail, or how it should work in certain conditions which might not be on your everyday use case. And then what they do is they write tooling around that to actually check that your code works as it should work. So what we do is we do two layers of testing. We do unit testing in the code to actually look at the code internally and make sure that each functional block works how I intended it to work. And when I'm writing code, of course it works how I intended it to work, but then over time you modify the code, you use it in other places, and you might have a function, you're calling it two places, and you modify that function to something else. You want to make sure it hasn't broken for the original purpose where the original bit of code isn't working. So unit testing I'm relatively okay at. I've done a lot of it. I'm not a fan of test-driven development, but I'm relatively good at writing tests. And what I'm interested in now then is writing tests which are more acceptance testing, more web acceptance testing, especially looking at how the web browser is rendering and making sure that the entire flow or sequence of events that a user might go through works. And what I've discovered is I have to write code in a slightly different way so that the tooling works. So I'm going to show you a demo now of this. We've got an application called Fake. What Fake's going to do for us is it's going to run through a short script. I'll show you the kind of difficulty we're having where I've got to go back and actually make changes to my code so that the testing works a bit more effectively. So I'm going to run this script now, and it's going to open up my local copy of the code. It's going to go through and start filling out the Imperium web form. This is the sign up. As you can see, as it filled out, what it actually did was it filled out this email and this email at the same time, even though I've only got one bit set to fill out. And the reason for that is basically I have two forms. Now in HTML, it doesn't, as long as my button is inside the form, it knows which form that button links to. So when I say click this button, it knows it's to submitting the data in this form, not the data in this form. But with the tooling, and these two fields have the same name, they're both the username field, and these are both the password fields. But they're in different forms. So when you're in the tooling saying, I want you to set the username, generally you say, oh, it's set the username in this form. Well, my forms don't yet have names, so basically I'm going to go back through all my code and add names to all my forms. It's not a big job because I separate my display logic from my code logic, but it is just slightly annoying. The end of this means that I should have some really cool automated tests I just hit play with, and it means that when we change something, and let's say we change, let's say we add a new button in, or we have a new data element that has to be filled out. One example is when you sign up, you get added to a plan, a program, and a consumer program, or you're a business account, it's the business account program. And let's say we had a new type of program for, it's going to happen with everyone that's added to the early adopters at the moment. And you get added to not early adopters. That change, I want to make sure it doesn't change the functionality of the website, that it works for everyone. You could argue I could do this by hand, and I have been doing it by hand, but actually I want to say I can just hit run, walk away, get a cup of tea, come back, and it's all done, and I know that it's there and working. And that gives me confidence, and it lets me sleep better at night knowing that, yeah, I know there's no issues because it's all run through on this test. Whole bunch of test tools. I'm using this one just because I like it. There are a whole bunch of other ones. Anyway, that's it for today, nice and short, and I'll let you get back to your regular viewing. Just a reminder, if you haven't already, please like us, subscribe, find us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and we're hoping to launch later this year.